You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Go Tigers, 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 go Tigers.
You're now listening to Tough Tiger Talk with Big Q and the guys on the Pro Media Network.
What's up, fam? You're now tuned in to Tough Tiger Talk on the PRO Media Network. I'm Big Q, your host, chiming in on Tough Tiger Talk. I like to see what's happening to the Purple and Gold Nation. We did a Tough Tiger Talk recap of the national championship show. This is kind of an extension, but we'll cover a number of topics and scandals that occurred, if you can call them that. Odell Beckham, what the hell you thinking? We're gonna recap that all in the same, man. We're gonna bring in our host Mozzie Fob, the Tough Tiger Talk Nation, man. What's going on, Mozzie?
Oh, man, I'm all right. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good, man. And it's going to be a fantastic show, man. You know, sorry we coming at the family a little late, man. We had to reschedule the Sports Coma a little further back, man, to get the Tough Tiger Talk in there. Now, like we said, me and Mozzie recap the Tough Tiger Talk following the game. In this edition, we'll give further analysis upon the game if needed, and talk about several scandals, if you won't call them that kind of metastasized out of the national championship when it was supposed to be about a team. We had an overzealous security guard trying to stop the people from celebrating in there and whatnot. And then the issuing of a warrant for arrest of Odell Beckham. Just insane, man. Insane. All the crap going on in the world, and they trying to arrest OBJ. Come on, man. Come on. There's some suckers out here. But anyway, let's keep it moving. We're going to talk about that, and they have several news items we're going to cover about LSU Tigers that are declaring from the NFL. Thad Moss, among others, who are declaring for the NFL. We'll cover that, as well as some recruiting news and some information as well about the replacements, who we think will be some of the replacements to keep this thing going. A lot of losses, and that's to be expected on when you win a national championship. Of course, they lost their passing game coordinator Brady to the Carolina Panthers. They lost Dave Aranda as well, and we'll cover all of that news, man. It's been a fantastical week of news dealing with the Tough Tiger Talk. I'd like to say what's up to all the Tough Tiger Talk family out there. Shedrick, I see your fam. Who that to you? Purple and Gold, who that to you? He says, what up? I'm checking out the parade. Yeah, I know. I was looking at the parade today, man. And, man, it's pretty damn good. And I see you there, Kevin. Big ups to you as well. So without further ado, let's slide right up into the show. Now, like we said, man, this was a fantastic win by LSU. They just stumped the rabbit hell out of this team. And I just absolutely love how they did it. Now, of course, the team was able to get the invitation as the president, who visited two of the games. The Alabama game, he was there, and then he was at the national championship game as well. And the team was able to go up to the White House and meet him. I don't know if he's an LSU fan, but I don't remember too many presidents that made it a point to go to LSU games. You know, I don't know. He might be a slick side fan of the team or whatnot, but you know, we're gonna keep it moving. Now, Mozzie, man, we talked about this game. We did the preview show. The family members could listen to that. But, man, this game on Monday night was just an absolute, ass kicking. I have to just put that out there, man. It was an absolute ass kicking. They just disfigured Clemson, just literally took them apart. And we covered some of this in the Tough Tiger Talk matchup. Going back over, what do you think about some of the way that LSU was able just literally to decapitate Clemson, when a lot of these bum-ass commentators who's supposed to be pros, who wronger than the weather people on most nights, called it bad, saying that LSU would lose to Clemson, Ohio State, or Oklahoma, and the only thing they did was destroy Oklahoma and just literally ravage and just just annihilated Clemson. What's your thought process on that?
Well, I mean, you kind of already know exactly where I'm headed with that. You know, I touched on it several weeks ago. Maybe mid-October, early to mid-October, when I realized, damn, these kids really have a legit shot at making it. And at that time, man, we hadn't yet witnessed LSU's defense catch up and play to the level they played, honestly, for the last 5-6 weeks of the season. I know it was a little bit of a soft spot or a weak spot to the detriment of LSU, and we kind of saw that during the Ole Miss game. But you know, one thing the Ole Miss game did prepare us for, it prepared us for this Clemson game. It definitely prepared us for the Oklahoma game because we learned in that game from getting torched by a running mobile quarterback who I think is going to have a really, really good career in the SEC. And he's going to definitely be something to watch out for moving forward next year. But I think that, you know, our defense was exposed, and I think that we had to seal those cracks. And I think that during that game, we got exposed and punished so bad by the mobile quarterback. No other mobile quarterback had that ability for the duration of the season to perform and do what was done to the LSU defense at that time, SEC. So, with the exception of the Alabama game, which, I mean, come on, at the time, you know, Alabama was, I know they had a couple of losses, but at the time, Alabama couldn't be stopped. It was a juggernaut. But with the exception of that game, man, it was lights out for everybody else. Once we played the Georgia game, I knew for a fact going into the postseason, I was like, yo, there's no way that anybody's going to stand in front of this team. You got Burrow on this magical carpet ride, 60 touchdowns, 6 picks. That is unbelievable. And, you know, that's a little skewed because he didn't get any garbage time. You got to understand, it wasn't like we played a team who was just beating them up and running the score up. And that never happened because when the score got too erroneous, too high, he was taken out. In the national title game, I think that, you know, Coach O just allowed him just to it was his day. It was his moment. He allowed him to live in his moment. And I applaud him for that. And Burrow, along with Coach O, decided to kneel on the ball. We obviously could score another touchdown there towards the end and ran the score up closer to 50. But we chose not to do that, and we chose to kneel on the ball. But if you can remember, there was a wide open drop, I believe, by Jefferson over his shoulder. With the defender trailing him by 5 yards.
They were Jamal Chase. Yeah.
Okay, well, the defender was trailing Chase by, I don't know, 5-6 yards easily, and it was a beautiful pass. He was looking for it to come over the inside shoulder. It came over the outside shoulder, and he kind of lost it. And I mean, for those of us that played football, I played football, played that building I'm not gonna get my age away. A long time ago, back in high school. Now I have Glory Classic, but
that's old school, bro.
That's old school. Don't tell nobody.
They have Glory, good grease.
Yeah,
they don't even have that no more, do they?
I just turned 30 last year, man.
Did you play at Pan American? Did you ever play
I
there?
did not have the fortune of playing Pan Am. I played tag only.
I did too,
but I did not have the fortune. I played tag only during the good time too. When they I don't know if you remember this, but they had recently renovated it for the Olympic tryouts.
Yeah.
When they went to Atlanta.
Oh I remember that. Yeah.
Right. They had the two brothers. They were down here for the track and field.
Right.
And they had renovated everything. What was the two brothers' names? I can't think.
Forgot,
remember the big commercials they had?
Yes, I remember.
That was for the '96 Olympics.
Yep, I remember.
Dan and Dave. That was their name. Dan and Dave. So Dan and Dave in the Olympic Committee, they put a bunch of money in the tag only because that's where the Olympic trials were held for the Atlanta Olympics. I didn't have the good fortune and graces to play in the dilapidated Pan Am Stadium that was obviously wasn't renovated until after Hurricane Katrina.
That's right.
Right.
They were forced to.
But in playing in games like that, high intensity game, man, I'm gonna just be honest, I never played on that level, but I mean, you have the tendency to lose footballs. I can remember a time where there was a clear fumble on the ground, and I just too many bodies and too much action going around, and I couldn't see it. So I mean, a lot of people kind of wrote the Chase, I can't believe he dropped that. But I mean, it was that big of a game, that wide open. Your adrenaline's kicking. I mean, there's just so many factors going into that. He's looking up at those lights. You know, you got 70,000 screaming people, majority of them there for you. And, I mean, he's what, 19, 20 years old? So, I mean, I understand what happened there. But be that as it may, Burrow, no stage was too big for him. He made all the throws, and he's making NFL caliber throws now. Bro, there's no throw that I didn't see this kid complete. It was a complete and total clinic for the majority of the season. After that Texas win, I don't know if he went into a hyperbolic time chamber or at a sensu bean. I really don't know what happened. But from that Texas game on, it was lights out Burrow. That's what his hashtag should be, lights out Burrow. I mean, there was no stage too big. You never saw him panic. You never saw him sweat. Even when LSU trailed or was close to trailing or the score was tied, I mean, this kid came out, man, like he's ice water in his veins. He wasn't seeing any of that, period. And, I think that he'll do great on the next level. That 60 touchdown stat, obviously, just in that game could have been at least one or two more. We dropped one and it just decided to kneel on the ball for the last minute of the game. So that 60 could have obviously been 62 just in that game. We're not going to even talk about several games where Burrow was taken out, mid-third, early fourth quarter, where he could have put up at least another touchdown or two per game. So he easily could have been at 65, 66 this year. Nobody will ever catch that. As we had talked about earlier, a couple of days ago, rather, the Cole Brennan, the kid from Hawaii, was the closest one. I think, what's that, Conference USA or something like that? I mean, it's nowhere near the level of competition
Hawaii.
that Burrow did this. Right, Burrow did this on, and it didn't matter. Big 12, it doesn't matter. It's crazy. It was SEC, Big 12, it doesn't matter. Whoever it was, whoever the opponent was, ACC, Big East, Big 12, it doesn't matter. This kid can do it all. That's just a testament. I don't even, to be honest, and he did it with his arm. He did it with arms and legs because he's not a stationary quarterback. But this kid and I know people are gonna jump on me for saying this. He's a mobile Tom Brady. Let that sink in. That is dangerous. A mobile Tom Brady. Can you imagine the ramifications of the last 20 years had Tom Brady just maybe been as mobile as slightly more mobile than Tim Tebow? Is he a Lamar Jackson? No. But this kid Burrow has wheels, and he knows how to kind of find those cracks and crevices, and he's a fairly big kid. I think that we lose track of the fact, well, he's like 6'2", 6'3". I mean, he's not a small kid. He's not a little child. And when you look at what he's been able to do against some top-notch defenses in the SEC, I mean, he's taken some severe hits. Obviously, he can put himself in them, but, I mean, this kid took some pretty severe punishment. One of them I can remember, and I saw the replay, and you saw it on the replay. Nobody talked about it, but when he got hit in the elbow, kind of in the elbow in the side, and he went to the sideline after that drive. I don't know if you remember that. And Coach O kind of hugged him and touched that little sore spot on his rib. If you could pull that replay up, I don't know if you had the ability to pull that replay up, put it up for the family, but this menacing look on his face, like, my God, that hurt. And I mean, this kid was playing through some pretty severe pain after that lick, but he knew he had to stay out there. And those are the small things that these NFL scouts and these GMs are going to be looking at, like when it comes to the who's the best MC, Burrow, Tua, or Hurts, because that's what it's going to be this year. Who's the best quarterback? So the number one overall pick, in my opinion, is definitely going to be Joe Burrow. Although there is some consensus, not much, that Tua could possibly leave for, which I can't see it. Maybe last year, but I mean, Tua in the 3 years he's been a starter, he's never done what that kid did this season. And if my memory serves me correctly, he had to get hurt to bail him out against was it Georgia in the same SEC showdown last year? He had to get hurt to bail him out because he wasn't fitting the bill. Mm-hmm. So I mean, man, this kid Burrow is special. I'm really bummed. I mean, I know obviously he wouldn't have come to the Saints, but I'm super bummed he's going to Cincinnati because Cincinnati is traditionally a very poor run organization. They don't they're unprofessional. And, people gave Marvin Lewis a really bad rap, over the years of them losing. But, hey, that guy did everything he could possibly do. You just can't, some things, he can't play the game for him as well. I can remember when they were about to win their first playoff game. Was it against the Texans? I can't remember, like maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, 17, 18, they were about to win their first playoff game. And the guy who just got suspended, the linebacker, came and just laid out one of their players. And his name was it was a player in Pittsburgh, as a matter of fact. He laid out AB. And that set them up. Yeah,
perfect.
Right, they set them up for the go-ahead field goal. So, when you look at all the boobery and all of this foolishness that the Cincinnati Bengals team has had to endure over the years, I really just don't see it. They've wasted several quarterbacks. They've wasted A.J. Green's entire NFL career. Their run game is awful. They had somewhat of a defense a couple years ago, but, outside of that, man, this is a traditionally losing franchise. And that's kind of one of the only bum things that I could say. But hopefully, hey, maybe it'll be another Drew Brees situation where he goes there and the team is kind of not quarterback oriented. They don't have a lot going on. Then he'll get out of there after 3 years, go somewhere and put up some unbelievable numbers, because I think he's going to be an unbelievable talent moving forward. And I just wish the Saints could possibly get their grimy little paws on him. But my hopes are still up for Tua. Because his stock value has plummeted. If like I said, I'm gonna take the heat off you so the family doesn't get on you. But what I said, let's ship Kamara or whoever we got to do as a bundle pack. Let's get Atlanta, get them off to Atlanta, because Atlanta, what was Atlanta said? Maybe the 5th or 6th pick in the draft, 5th, 6th, 7th, somewhere in that area. I think that'll be a great spot to try to land Tua or Hurts, to try and get something going after the age of Breeze this season. I don't think it's going to be quarterback 1, 2, 3.
I don't know if that's going to happen. But like we covered on the previous show, it's going to be interesting because if it's the addition of Brady to the to the Carolina Panthers as the offensive coordinator does put the Saints on the clock in terms of having Brady there. The first thought process is they'll do whatever it takes to land that pick that'll bring Joey Burrow, and you don't want Joey Burrow and the offensive coordinator together with Christian McCaffrey in Carolina as your adversary that you face twice a year. That would be a unmitigated disaster for this team, even though Burrow's telling you he's a Saints guy. He wears number 9 because of Breeze. He's a Saints fan because of Breeze. And this is the thing where either you step up to the plate and make a strong effort to land this kid, or your opposition does. And if that happens, you're going to be the clown of the division, because they have a few pieces in place right now, and after a couple of years they'll be unstoppable. So it'll be awesome. But Joey Burrow, Tom Brady with scrambling ability is interesting. One of the commentators made a comment about him, saying that he's playing an NFL game against college players. He's playing NFL, making NFL throws. He's on the NFL level against college players at the highest levels. So this guy was absolutely just awesome the entire season. 60 touchdowns on the throw. You're absolutely right. 60 touchdowns on a year, that'll be caught. That won't be caught for at least another 15 to 20 years, if so. But he finished the game 31-49. He had 5 touchdowns, almost 500 yards of passing just by himself. And then, of course, Clyde Edwards-Helaire threw in 112 on the rush for 16 carries. Chase was 9 catches for 221 yards. Absolutely blew them the you-know-what out, 42-25. And then what's messed up about is the following year the team then went right. The commentators then went right into the thought process of replacing the new rankings and putting Clemson right back up there and sliding LSU all the way down to 5. So even though you kicked their ass, that's because of Joey Burrow, who they gave no credit to in the Genesis. Now without him, you are not the top team. You're back to 5. They don't understand just like they ain't understanding. Bunch of dumbasses are they, man? Bunch of dumb, blind people. But anyway, keeping it moving. Let's listen to Coach O, what his thought process was after the game. This is Coach O thoughts after the win over Clemson.
The hotel today, what a phenomenal group we had. It just gave us the energy and all night. And they've been with us all year. And give the credit to our players. Those guys fought. We started working last year, January 17th. They worked their tails off with Tommy Moffitt. They did the right things, character, grit, determination. They had their player-only practices this summer. I didn't even know about them, led by these guys on the side. We took it one game at a time. We won as a team. Got to give the credit to our coaching staff, Jack Marucci, Tommy Moffitt, all the trainers, and just a tremendous night for the LSU Tigers, tremendous night for the purple and gold, a tremendous night for the state of Louisiana. We are so proud to represent.
Again, as a reminder, we'll take questions for the players. Give us a minute to get you the mic, and let's go ahead and give us your name and affiliation. We'll start right here in the very front row.
Michael Cobble, WBRZ TV in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Joe, the cigar celebrating tonight, and I guess just could you take us back to the beginning of this game, kind of figuring it out as you guys make the adjustments throughout. Were you injured during the course of the game, and how did you respond?
I was fine. I was just fine. They had a great plan coming in. I mean, we knew they would. Brent Venables is the best in the country and at what he does, and you know he was mixing up the looks. I honestly couldn't figure out where they were blitzing from all night. We had great play calls, great coaching staff. I mean, this was a long time coming. This kind of speechless right now. This was fun.
Right down here, very front row.
Joe, Doug Mouton, WWL TV in New Orleans. Was it a point early in the game where you recognized they were underplaying Jamar Chase and you were just going to keep going? As long as they were giving you a one-on-one with him, you were just going to keep going there?
Yeah, you know, the first couple of series, I didn't think there was any way that they were just going to play man with Jamar, so I wasn't really looking his way. And then I got back to the sideline after the second drive. I was like, they really are playing man-to-man with Jamar. So we started going to him heavy, and I mean, he played so well, and that's just the kind of guy that he is. He's worked so hard for that, all of our guys.
Side. Oh.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm good.
Left side of the aisle. We're going to go right here in the midsection.
Joe, Bill Bender, Sporting News. I know you said you're speechless, but for what's been made of your journey and for you to deliver on this stage, whether it was people in Louisiana, Ohio State fans, or even the people in Athens, Ohio, what's it mean to you to deliver this performance while all of those people were cheering you on?
Feels good. I don't know what else to say. I mean, there's been so many people that have come into this, from people that have helped me along my journey from Ohio, Louisiana, everywhere. And we couldn't have done it with a better group of guys. Not just football players, but great men that I just feel blessed to be a part of this.
That's Joe Burrow's thoughts. Also, Coach O chiming in on their thoughts after the national championship win over the Clemson Tide. I mean, just destroyed that goddamn team. Just wiped them out, man. Just wiped them out. And we like I said, man, we called this. We talked about this. We talked about the fact that how dare you put inferior competition up against the SEC. I mean, the LSU was the cream of crop. They dominated Alabama. They ran past them. They pretty much had taken apart most of the tough competition at SEC. They took apart, had a really good game against a very talented Texas team who had some pretty nice wins this past season. But they were in a class by themselves. And we kept saying this the entire year, that this team is something special. And they kept trying to put Clemson, an ACC team, up against an SEC team. And they talking just because they beat the garbage time, terrible-ass South Carolina Gamecocks in the final game of the season that they could play against SEC competition. We talking about top-notch competition. And, of course, how Dabo Swinney was able to get the best of Nick Saban's old tired ass in Alabama as well. We needed a fresh ideology. And LSU showed what time this is. Wasn't even close, man. This was supposed to be the two top teams in the nation playing each other, and it didn't even look close. This wasn't even close. Once he figured this team out, it was ball game all over the goddamn place. So it just goes to show you. And then after the game was over with, a day later, they posted a ranking showing that LSU is now ranked for the 2020-21 season as 5th in the nation, with Clemson sitting on top. It's just utterly repulsive to think, just because Joey's gone, that they can't some kind of way continue the domination. Listen, there are other people in place that'll slide in place, and we'll talk about that. But let's get into some of the news for the LSU players that have declared for the NFL. And some of those guys that are declared, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He declared he'll be gone. He was a terrific player for them. Kind of the super, he's a ultra instinct version of Darren Sproles. I mean, this guy is like, of the smaller backs, he has the probably the potential to be the greatest small back that ever existed. This guy is very talented. He blocks. He picks up blocks. He catches the ball like a wide receiver out of the backfield. He has ridiculous speed, and the shakes and shimmies on this guy he's a nightmare to deal with in the open in space. He'll be a terrific player. He won't, even if he's hurt, he'll come in and give you 110%. He won't lay down on you for 7 or 8 games during the middle of the season after coming off an injury, then finally pick up the last 2 games of the season. He won't do nonsense like that. You won't catch him in the Atlanta strip clubs or the clubs hanging with strippers or hanging with people that he know he don't have no business hanging with, because he is a professional football player. He won't allow the stardom or the stuff to get to his head, and I'm pretty sure y'all know who I'm throwing this shit at. But that's the reality. But he is declared for the NFL draft. So is Justin Jefferson. He's leaving as well to go to the NFL draft. We know about Grant Delpit, the best safety in the nation. He's gone. K'Lavon Chason was also a guy that decided to enter the draft. He made his decision yesterday that he'll be entering the draft as well. And also, you have Jacob Phillips, Patrick Queen, Michael Divinity. You know, you're looking at guys like that that's looking to come into the draft. Thad Moss is another guy that's declared for the draft as well. He's moving on to follow his dad. Lloyd Cushenberry, the center, he's moving into the draft as well. Shadiq Charles, the offensive tackle, he's leaving to go as well. And just like I said, Patrick Queen, the inside linebacker, so is Jacob Phillips. He's leaving. Jacoby Stevens, the safety, is coming. Actually, Jacoby's going back. So, but those are some of the guys that are ultimately deciding to leave. Now, who's returning? Jacoby's returning. Kerry Vincent Jr. is returning. Tyler Shelvin's returning. Glenn Logan is returning. Austin Ducalis is returning as well. So some of the core pieces, they're not losing everybody, but they are losing some special pieces, no doubt about it. But Ed Ogeron is just going to have to keep this thing going. Mozzie, quickly, what are your thought process on some of those guys declaring before we move on to that Odell Beckham news?
Well, I mean, obviously we know they were going to declare. This is a business at the end of the day, man, and the time to strike only iron is now. So I don't fault them. I don't blame them. I think they need to. We could always, and again, for the family, this is my opinion only, and you could always go back and get that diploma. I'm going to pick up on this 5, 6, 7 million with a Y, not an L. On this 5, 6, 7 million. That's what I'm going to do. I don't fault them. I think they're at the peak. They can do nothing else in a collegiate career bigger than what they've already done. They could match it, but I don't think they can outdo it. And with that being said, as they say on Shark Tank, I'm out. I'm declaring for the draft. I'm going to pick up on this 5, 6, 7 rookie contract million. Play for the 3 years on that rookie contract. Try to get me, these guys on the back end of some of the big contracts, some of these huge contracts. So 3-4 years from now, man, Fresh Prince might be picking up on a 4-year, $50-60 million extension if it's in the right situation. So yes, I am definitely going to make my money.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. It makes total sense. Some guys not making nothing, and then of course it's the education angle. They're saying, well, they're getting a free ride to go to school or whatnot. Listen, man, like Mozzie said, that's true. You can always go back and get your diploma. And hell, if you donate enough money to the school, you end up like Shaquille O'Neal. They give you an honorary degree. You basically pay for a diploma, and they just say, here you go one free. Come on, man. We know what time this is. So education don't stop just because you become a pro. It's just like the 2-year rule. which they have to make capital over. They force them to stay in school for at least 2 years before you declare. I think that's something a lot of people say, well, it's all about the learning, all that kind of stuff. If it's all about learning education, lower them goddamn prices on some of them schools, man. That's ridiculous, man. You know, you can't even bankrupt out of that stuff, man. I know tons and tons of people that have student loan debt attached to them that they'll be paying for the rest of their life because they're overpaying for this education, man. And most of these degrees
That's
that you
the scam.
get,
That's the scam.
yeah,
You're right.
they're overpaying for it under the auspices of saying, well, it's for education and higher learning. Man, get your ass out of here with that. They've been running this scam for over 100 years. They've been screwing you for over 100 years. And I ain't gonna get into a big spiel, but I'm gonna do a video about this and drop it and put it out real soon about this whole college stuff, man. We got to this got to be known. This is an antiquated method. This stuff been going all the way back to 100 plus years. Take you all the way back into slavery time. So you get the picture. You get the picture where this stuff started in genesis of. And it hadn't changed, but they hide behind the education angle. Like education is everything. And remember, they're good and bad and everything, and there's good and bad education. This is a major league scam that these colleges have been running for years, and they need to cut. And this needs to be well. This crap need to stop because education shouldn't cost that much money for you to better yourself, to get a job or whatever, to make yourself get more and more and more. And I often said like this: they'll give these young kids $40,000 and $50,000, $60,000 to go to school, but when you want to start a business, where's the money for that? Oh, we ain't got money for you to start a goddamn business, but if you want to go to school, to this high ass school, we'll give you $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 to a person that's 19, 20 years old. And we don't say what? We don't challenge that? I mean, absolutely nonsense. I won't get into it, man, because y'all know how I am. But let's move on to the next topic, Five. This is the thing, man. We're going to talk about LSU's defensive coordinator, Dave Aranda, who is ultimately who chose to finally leave, and we know he's been with LSU for the last 4 years. He's ultimately making the decision to leave and take the job at Baylor, which is a very interesting and very really suspicious or very strange triangle that's occurring here, because how the opening occurred at Baylor was the fact that Mike Rule left there to go to Carolina. He became the Carolina Panthers head coach for something ridiculous. The man had like 1 or 2 winning seasons, and then they gave him like a 6 or 7 year deal. What is the matter with these dumbass owners? I mean, seriously, these supposed to be intelligent people. How do you give a college coach 7 years? Well, anyway, I mean, but he became the head coach after getting rid of what's his name, Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, who goes to Washington. He replaces Riverboat Ron in Carolina. He basically gets Brady, the passing game coordinator for LSU, to become his OC in Carolina. And, so it's almost like, because of this little mysterious, this ridiculous triangle that occurred, Dave Aranda then filled the vacuum at Baylor by becoming the head coach. So, we lose 2 there, but Ernst Minger's still in place as well. But of course, Dave Aranda, like you said, 4 years he's been there, been one of the highest paid assistant for the team, and he will replace Mike Rule, and that's just how it goes. And he was quoted saying, "I'm excited to get started at Baylor." Dave Aranda. Now, man, I got love for Dave Aranda. Very smart dude defensively. Now, if you listen to Dave Aranda, he looks kind of weird, man. He's kind of a weird looking dude, but he knows his defense. I just don't know if he'll be a really good head coach. I guess time will tell. But he spent the past 4 years helping the Tigers defense, which has been like one of the top defenses in the country, while getting that high pay. But it's just interesting. What do you think about that move? Let's cover both the fact that we lose the passing game coordinator and our defensive coordinator to Baylor, and the other guy to the Carolina Panthers in the same division with the Saints. What your thought process on that, Mozzie?
Well, I mean, this is the ultimate price of success.
That is.
Nobody gets into anything to stay there forever. I mean, unless your name is Nick Saban or possibly Sean Payton. I mean, because their situations are really unique. Nobody gets into anything to stay put in one spot forever unless the situation calls for it. And with the example of Brady's 30 years old. Brady is arguably one of the best offensive minds. I mean, I know we talk about Sean McDermott and we talk about some of the other younger guys. And we talk about Sean Payton and Bill Belichick and some of the offensive minds. But this guy, if, and it's a big if, he's able to translate that game over to Carolina, which he's got to have the personnel for. I mean, he's an offensive coordinator, but it starts with the quarterback. NFL is a passing league. These people are not going to stay put for long. So obviously, you know, you got you got a guy that threw up for almost 6,000 yards. You got a guy that's got 60 tubs, 6 picks. You got to know that at some point in time, somebody gonna ring his phone or call his phone or text him or inbox him or DM him or whatever, send pigeons out, smoke signal, whatever they got to do. Get 3 ships and send some white guys over the land and say they found it. Whatever they got to do, they're going to find this guy, right? And they found him. They found our defensive coordinator. And you know, with that being said, if our defense was so bad, why is our defensive coordinator being sought after? Obvious, man, because they understand that for him to handle or keep up with LSU's offense, you have to have a special type of defense. It probably took our defense a month or two just to keep pace with the amount of points and at the rapid pace they were scored by LSU. Thus, the defense never got a break. So by the time they finally caught up to that, and then, I mean, you know, just like everybody else, we're gearing up to be, you know, on the field, being able to switch personnel in and out because we're a defensive running team, right? No, that didn't happen this year. And I think when the bell went off and Burrow just exploded, like everybody had to kind of adjust to being around him. So, you know, the offensive personnel, where, you know, they had to adjust running quick plays and deep plays, because we got a quarterback that can get it out now. So, you know, red alert. So the defense had to catch up with that. And a football-minded individual understands for that guy to make those corrections that he did on the fly, because Burrow, contrary to popular belief, was an on-the-fly situation. Nobody saw that. So he had to adjust his game plan and his personnel accordingly, and sometimes that just takes time, especially when you're playing the likes of Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Texas. I mean, so it's not like you could adjust in-game playing like, you know, La Tech or ULM or ULL. Man, nah, next week we got Alabama. Next week we got Auburn. 2 weeks from that we got Georgia. We got Ole Miss. I mean, come on, man. It's just second game of the season we got Texas. That's a lot. First game, second game, we got Texas. That's a lot. That'd be a lot for anybody. So I think that the football-minded people that get paid to do this job, they understood what that was, and they understood that, man, if he can make those kind of adjustments and have a turnaround and hold Clemson to 25, hold Georgia to like what, 10, 12, whatever they hold these people to these low total scores, all while containing the likes of Tua and Hurts. And, I mean, come on, man. This defense did some remarkable things. Even though the scoreman had always reflected that, those scores, to me, were all garbage points. It was a lot of points scored after Burrow had gotten out of the game, in the back ends of the fourth quarter. It was maybe a blown coverage or two where they just kind of heaved it over the top. It wasn't a systematic breakdown of defense. That's not what that was. I understood that. And I'm sure that everybody that knows the game of football understood that. Casual fan probably was calling for their head. But I understood, yo, man, if these people come out and have been on the field for 7 minutes, then Joey B and that offense goes out and scores in 2 minutes, then that defense has got to get right back on the field. That's rough. And I think we all really.
Well, that's very true. I mean, you look at the level, man, of how they played, man. They're just on another level. But why wouldn't I not think for a second that they can continue the trend going? I mean, would you not think for a second that Coach Orgeron had seen this, like he's seen it the previous year when they were two games off from compete for the national championship last year? Losses to Florida in Florida really hurt them. And then, of course, the several overtime game toward the end of the year against Texas A&M, both of which they avenged on to the national championship. They closed all the goddamn doubters' eyes. I mean, everything. It was a perfect mixture this following season for LSU, where they took care of business where the Saints could not. Thanks, because they had smarter coaching, obviously. But looking at the coaching, speaking of coaching, we're talking about losing Brady and Aranda. Aranda is now the head coach of the Baylor Bears. He replaces Mike Ruhu with the Carolina and took Brady away from LSU, made him the offensive coordinator, gave him a 4-year deal, around $400,000 a season. That's a lot of money for a dude that don't have much of a coaching resume. I mean, seriously, that's how fast they're getting it? Really? Damn. LSU analyst George Muniz is another dude that was sitting in meetings with offensive coordinator Steve Ernstbinger and Brady This guy is a former offensive coordinator at UL and has been on staff and they say is respected enough to be a guy that could step in where Brady was and keep the ball rolling. They know that offense. They know what they need to do. They know how to mix it up. And they thinking about that they can recreate it and keep it going. But having a guy like Joe Burrow who mastered that offense because it was tailored to his strengths and abilities, that's something we have to look at account. Now, before we attack it, the Odell Beckham story got some latest developments we're going to hit you with. Let's go over some potential replacements for Joe Burrow just to let the family members know, who we looking at replacing Joey B to keep the ship rolling, because this is the start of a dynasty in LSU land. This is not a one-time hit or quitter miss. This is one of the situations that begin dynasties where LSU is going to draw all the top recruits. They're going to continue to dominate in the SEC. This is the firestorm that starts. Well, projected starter is Miles Brennan. Now, of course, we know Brennan's been there for a while. He couldn't quite seize the opportunity. He does have a strong arm. He was a little underweight when he first came. He's been sitting there. Pretty cerebral kid. I'm kind of questioning his leadership ability. That's just me. But he's among who they projected as a possible starter. I mean, there's also players like Peter Parrish. There's Max Johnson, and of course TJ Finley. So there's a couple of people there that they're looking at that could possibly come in and create a competition. But all people thinking it'll probably be Miles Brennan's job when the season starts. We'll take a look at it. Rick Starters coming back at the running back position. Chris Curry, who looked good while Clyde Edwards-Helaire was hurt for that game against Oklahoma. He got an opportunity to play. He looked real ferocious, ran angry, had the speed and the power. I like Curry's running style. Emery is a guy that a lot of people like, but you also have Tyron Davis-Price in the mixture as well. So it's going to be interesting to see them mix up and see who will come out at the lead back. We could obviously see a back by committee approach in 2020, 2021. Top receivers, we lose Burrow, but the weapons are still there. Jamar Chase is there. Terrace Marshall, who I'm really high on, is there as well. And then there's Trey Palmer, there's Racey McMath, there's Devontae Lee, there's John Trey Kirkland, there's Jari Jenkins, there's Kashawn Boot, and Coy Moore, and a few others who will see what they can do. But leading that is Jamar Chase, who is the best wide receiver in the country. And Terrace Marshall has to stay healthy to contribute to that wide receiver core. So keeping it moving. Losing Thad Moss, who is the projected starter, is Eric Gilbert, who's a pretty good player in his own right. He'll get an opportunity, perhaps Troy Carter, or I like Pettigrew. And then there's Eric Moffitt and Taylor as well. So those are guys that'll compete. What they're looking at, Gilbert as the lead candidate to replace Thad Moss at the tight end position. And then, of course, we lost a couple of our players, offensive linemen like Cushionberry, but replacing some of these guys, you got Rosenthal and Dukelis that's there. The other options are Jacoris Savage, Cameron Wire, Thomas Perry. Then there's Marcus Dumerville and Cameron Jackson. Some of these guys will be looked upon to keep that offensive line at the tackle position strong. Then you're looking at Ed Ingram and Chase Hines are there in the middle, in the interior offensive linemen. Bradbury, Thomas, Campbell, Martinez, and even Xavier Hill are looking at the guard positions there. Then at center to replace Cushionberry, they're looking at Charles Turner. Then there's Chase and Hines and Martinez. Those guys will have to step up and make some plays happen on the offense. That's just covering the offensive side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball, it'd be interesting. I'm not too concerned with the defense because we always have terrific defensive players. When you lose guys, we know Glenn Logan's coming back. Neil Farrell will be there. You also have Travis Moore, Jarrell Cherry, McClendon, Thomas, Jenkins, and so on and so forth at the defensive end position. Not really mad at that. You got the big fella, Rashard Lawrence, who should be leaving as well. So you got Tyler Selvin, he coming back. You got big old Apu Ika that'll be in the middle with Evans, and then there's Guillory for the big meat, the space eaters in the interior of the line. Then the linebacker positions, that's usually the strength. The secondary is usually the strength of the team, as it's called DBU. But the linebackers, we produce some really excellent linebackers that we don't get that credit. Ask Atlanta, ask several other teams in the NFL about LSU linebackers. Ray Thornton is there. Marcel Brooks, who we've seen sporadically there. And then there are other players like Andre Anthony, Desmond Little, Ray Parker, Phillip Webb, and the likes. Those guys are going to be called upon to replace guys like Queen and the likes. Man, they got to step up. Now, Chason is another dude that's gone. And then, of course, Michael Divinity. I think we probably looking at Divinity going as well, even though there's no official word. I didn't hear anything about him declaring. But I got to say, when the time comes, Michael Divinity is definitely going to declare as well. So you're looking at Damone Clark and Mika Backersville, Starks, Antoine Sampa, Josh White at middle linebacker. So it's very talented. A lot of solid 4 and 5 recruit reserves there. They're packing. Then, of course, coming back in that exciting secondary, the freshman. He's not going to be a freshman in there. Derek Stingley Jr. Excellent. He'll be back with Kerry Vincent. That's Cardale Flott, Jay Ward. You have guys like Elias Ricks and Dwight McGlothern. So they got a few guys. Ray Jones is another dude that they keep an eye on in the secondary as far as the cornerback. But they do get Jacoby Stevens back. Maurice Hampton is supposed to step up in the other position. Then you got Todd Harris, Eric Monroe, Cam Lewis, and Jordan Tolles, among others, man. So there are a number of people that can help out on the defensive side to keep the ball rolling. But the key will be the quarterback position. Who takes on that? Even though the pick might be Brennan, we'll just have to see what's going on. Okay, Kevin says Michael Divinity declared. I missed that one, but it was common sense. You know what I'm saying? He had to declare. Moving on. Played in the national championship game. Just made the guy nervous. And if anything, you can look at Trevor Lawrence and understand that he kind of scary back there. Because them guys, even though we got to him twice in that game, they were around him and he was uncomfortable just with them swiping around him. He didn't step up in the pocket with authority. So questions could be asked about this kid's toughness in terms of, he got his ass leveled in that previous game against Ohio State. He came back. He showed some heart there. But against LSU, the pressure around them just kind of made him throw the ball early, and they wouldn't even get to him. Maybe swipes at him or stuff like that. He got to improve upon that aspect of his game because he gonna be looked as being soft anyway with all that damn hair. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of a weird look to me anyway, and he kind of look a little soft to me, But we that ain't my goddamn quarterback, so I ain't worried about it. But moving on, let's go to the next story, which is the Odell Beckham scandal, if you want to call it that. This is the final story of the Tough Tiger Talk. Where Odell Beckham it was two things occurred that was created by Odell Beckham. Number one is the fact that Odell was handing out money to players, Joy Burrow and the likes, in the locker room after the win. And then there was a situation pertaining to a security officer who was butt slapped by Odell Beckham, who the police issued a arrest warrant for Odell Beckham. Now the recent news is saying the cop that's butt slapped by Odell Beckham no longer is pursuing charges. So he's like, man, he ain't pursuing no charges about that. So New Orleans departments could withdraw the arrest warrant because the man, which you can't do too much about. If he withdrawed it, they could have paid him off. I don't know what the hell happened. But at the end of the day, he ain't pursuing nothing. So you don't have a leg to stand on. So sooner or later, they got to withdraw that arrest warrant on Odell Beckham. What happened. Now, Mozzie, you still with us. You know the intricacies of both reports about Odell Beckham, both offenses committed by Odell Beckham. I mean, how could you? It's just a screw factory caused by Odell Beckham's crazy ass. Well, anyway, what's the thought process on both offenses? Number one, of course, the butt slapping. And then, that would bring the charges, which soon will be dropped. Let's just break that news. Those charges will soon be dropped. They'll probably be announced by Monday or Tuesday of next week that they're not going to be pursuing that arrest against him. Those charges are dropped. And the money issue, him handing out money to several players on the team.
Well, here's the thing, man. This was not Odell's time. Odell had a situation with LSU a couple years ago when, it could have been his time, but it wasn't his time. And I understand the excitement that he may have garnered by, his old alma mater and, his team going to the big dance and winning, obviously accomplishing a feat that he couldn't have accomplished himself. But he's got to let those players be players. And I think this is another classic tale, classic case of Odell Beckham looking for attention, and I think he found the attention and garnered the attention that he was looking for. Now, it all sounds kind of fishy to me, because, I mean, all of a sudden this guy is pursuing any charges, and obviously this was a money grab from the giddy-up, and this same security guard saw that Odell was handing out money like he was, crack in the 80s, and shit, obviously I'm going to try to pursue what I got to pursue as well. I mean, I'm 55, 60, 70 years old, however old the guy is. And, I mean, I got to get something out the deal as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if Odell's handlers and his team reached out to this security guard guy and gave him a couple dollars to, like, make this go away, because the ramifications and the fallout of him having to report down to Orleans Parish Prison and face all of, go through all of that. It wouldn't have stayed in a long period of time, but what they were charging him with, between him having to pay a bond and get out of jail and having to pay a lawyer to fight it, probably easy just to slide this guy $5,000 or $10,000 and have him go away. So it wouldn't come as a big giant shock to me if that's what went down. But he's got to understand and that it wasn't his time. If he'd understood that, and now he's got these young guys under scrutiny, and I've had a couple conversations with people, this might just be a black and white thing. No, it's always a money thing. Anytime you start throwing around money like that, man, people are gonna come for it. Whether it's the outside, whether that's the chick, that you meet at the club, or whatever, it's always going to be somebody coming at you for the money. And he needs to understand that he's got to do a better job of protecting himself and protecting his assets and protecting his money. But much like AB, they never learn, these professional athletes and these guys never learn until they hit the ground hard, not soft or not on the way down, because on the way down they feel like it's everybody else, is not them. Everybody's hating on them. That's the common take on it. That's the narrative. So to change that narrative, these guys have to fall. They got to fall, and they got to fall hard. And once they bump their head once or twice and realize nobody wants to have any dealings or business with them, I think they'll kind of come around. I think that Odell it was a playful thing. I get it, because I'm in that kind of, that kind of a boyish type community, and I see that a lot. But at the time, this is a 67-year-old white security guard. He's not there to play. He's hawking all these young guys who just came off of a national title win, trying to investigate if they had, codeine in the locker room or whatever he was searching for. They got various reports on that, but whatever he was searching for, how dare you come into the locker room of the national champion? I mean, come on, bro, let these kids breathe. He was definitely out of order. And then to follow up with just how out of order things could get, he was out of order as well. So I think that it was a two-part thing. I think that both of these guys were out of order. I think there was just too much, oxygen in the atmosphere or whatever, I don't know. But they both did something uncharacteristic that they shouldn't have done. But Odell had much more to lose than the security guard. He should have been mindful of that. He should have been aware of that. He's got to learn to watch his surroundings and pay attention a little bit better if he wants to make it and not be one of these statistic stories like Antonio Brown and like what's the guy that shot himself in the leg. All these guys have all these
Plexico Burress.
If you don't want to be one of these guys, man, then you can't do what these guys do, man. I think that Dion and a couple of the other guys that were kind of flamboyant back in the 80s and 90s, they did it, but they understood what was fact and what was fiction. Yeah. And they went to a certain level and didn't cross that threshold.
Yeah,
as long as they do that, they're all right.
You know what, though, Five, but just to elaborate, I agree on many of your points, and to add to some of them, just to give a different view. A view is what I do. The Deion Sanders thing, it took him almost reaching a suicide level. He was up on top of the world, but like he said in various documentaries that he wanted to kill himself. And that happened several players that reached that plateau of popularity that, you know, they realize is a very hollow thing, because it represents only one spectrum of who you really are as a person, and it's not as fulfilling as people would indicate. Simply because you don't have a lot of money. A lot of this money, you know, these players get a lot of this money, and what it does is it magnifies. This money is a magnifier. That's all it does, and it magnifies who you truly are as a person. So you get up there and cut up and act up like that, the money will magnify your stupidity. If you're really a stupid person that can't control themselves, it'll magnify your stupidity. And I think a lot of the things that happen with Odell Beckham is just the fact that he's detached from reality, similar to a guy like Antonio Brown, who doesn't have the correct people around him to pull him down. And I often talked about pulling coattails and keeping people around you to keep you grounded, meaning keeping people around you to keep you grounded, meaning not to keep you on the ground where you can't soar. It's merely a term to describe the balance of keeping you in the realm that you're living in, and not in some fantasy world where you can do what you think you can do to women, like what's happening to AB and several other hundreds of their athletes that were fortunate enough to get to a level of starting that some can only dream about. So it's interesting, no doubt about it. I agree with you. I think that they paid him. His handlers paid off the guy to drop the charges. This kind of stuff happens behind the scenes all the time. They know that Odell Beckham and his agents have a damage control team. Trust me, all of them do. Most of the powerful politicians have a damage control unit, which comes in and cleans up the mess and pays people off and then spins narratives that's beneficial to the person that has the money to. So this type of stuff happens all the time, man. It was just the overzealous security guard who thought that he was doing his job. You got players celebrating, they're smoking cigarettes or cigars in the locker room, which is a fire hazard. The guy was just merely trying to do his job, I imagine. And they got some guys like that take it literally too serious, like Mike Epps did in the Friday movie. The national security of the world, Craig. I mean, it just what it come down to, man, is just we as people, we gotta be cognizant of certain things, man. And this addresses the money issue of it. The money issue of Odell handing out money. This is only an offense because the NCAA doesn't want its players to make money or receive money. They're the only ones that can make money on you. Think back to when Terrell Pryor was a quarterback at Ohio State. He was one of the baddest men walking at the time at the quarterback position. He wanted to make money, so he took some articles and he signed his name on them and sold them, and he got in trouble for that. Meaning that's eye-opening, because that means so much on many different levels if you look at it, that they're not even allowed to make money off of their own signatures or their own images or their own likenesses. They can't receive money, but the ridiculous colleges that hoard all of this money, hundreds of millions of dollars, to build these big ridiculous ass stadiums and all this kind of stuff, they can make all the money they want, but the player on the field, he can't make nothing off his own thing. That needs to be called into question. A lot of people are finally bringing that to the media. I'm so proud of people, period, for waking up to some of these things. You can't allow these people that sit at the top to spin these narratives that almost pretends to think that you are that they're working for your interests when they're only working for their own. So I mean, like I said, man, I'm so proud of people nowadays where they could be able to do that, man. But I understand. Yeah, you're right, Kevin. He says, yeah, they took Reggie Bush's Heisman for taking money. They took his Heisman away for taking money. Now, why would anybody take money because they need it? Because they need to survive. So then they say, we provide you with everything. We give you free room and board in our university. It's on an amount of money because it's for higher learning, higher education. And most of this garbage that they teach, and you can't even make a living off of it. And now they've started online. I ain't gonna even get into it. This Tough Tiger Talk, I'm gonna make a video and spin it off, because I can go off a whole goddamn hour talking about the foolishness. Because this is real. People won't talk about pimp daddy and all that. That's what the colleges are. They pimp daddies. That's what it is. You can give your child $50,000, $60,000 to go to school, but won't even give them $10,000 to start a business. I mean, it's just ridiculous, man. But anyway, 5, man, that'll do it for the show. Closing thoughts on Tough Tiger Talk, my friend. What do you think what's going to happen with the team moving forward?
Well, I think that at this point we got to kind of pick the pieces up, and the hangover should be done in the next couple of days, man. And we got to try to work on repeating. I mean, that's what good teams and good programs do. They don't linger in the moment. They worry about the next moment, because this is a what have you done for me lately type of world. And I think that everybody at LSU knows that. Coach O should definitely know that. he's been around a long time and been part of enough programs where he got the letdown and he got the cold shoulder and he got the I don't really know. So I mean, he's already been there long enough and been through that too many times to fall for the okie doke again. So if I were him, and I'm not, but if I were him, I would definitely make sure I'm on my game, and I'd definitely be trying to, do what NCAA coaches do. Recruit. 4 or 5 stars only, and we need to rebuild that program and jump right back in the saddle again.
Ain't no doubt about it. You're absolutely right. And now is the final time of any to do that, Five, because you're sitting on the top of a national championship where you absolutely decimated your opponents. I mean, these 2 playoff games, as they call them, wasn't really playoff games, more like scrimmages. They literally destroyed Oklahoma. It wasn't even a contest. By halftime, this team was sitting on, 40 points? I mean, it was absolutely just an outright annihilation, and they're supposed to be representing the top 4 teams in the nation. If they did that to Oklahoma and Clemson, I can only imagine what they would have done to Ohio State. That would have been like, getting Clemson was fine just to destroy them because Nick Saban's claimed to have so much trouble doing anything to Clemson that let a real team take them on, let a real football team take them on, and you look how they got done. And then, of course, I would have loved that. My thing, I wanted Ohio State to get in there because it was all this talk about Ohio State, and maybe it could have been one of those matchups too. As a Saint man, I'd have seen Ohio State versus LSU, and maybe and showing how LSU dominated Ohio State's competition might sway stupid Peyton to be able to stop picking so many Ohio State players to start drafting LSU guys. So that was some of my thought process in that. But man, LSU, man, this is beautiful. So as the program moves forward, of course, we lost key members of the coaching ranks as Brady takes the OC job, and with the Carolina Panthers, Dave Aranda finally leaves, and we've been knowing eventually Dave Aranda was going to leave. That's why they was paying him top dollar to stay. That he would eventually take a coaching job and leave on. And after a national championship win, when your stakes are high and when your name is hot, why not make that leap and move on to the head coach? So he's the Baylor guy now, and we have openings that need to be filled. So those questions, who will be the next quarterback, all this kind of stuff, who will be the OC, well, you already have the OC in Ernst Minger. Brady, his term was actually the passing game coordinator, but the defensive coordinator position to be open. So trust and believe that we're going to have maybe some guys that get promoted from within. Definitely as far as the passing game coordinator is concerned, Munez is a guy that could step in and help out like he's been helping out all season long. So don't be surprised when you see some of this offense continue on moving into 2020, 2021. Also, remember that they can promote from within for the defensive coordinator position as well. And like I said, this team's never had issues with finding defensive coordinators, defining defensive talent, maintaining that offense is paramount moving forward. So we'll see how it happens, man. But man, it's been a fantastic ride all season long, culminated with an ass-smashing win. And I just love it, man. I think it's terrific. I'm proud to be a purple and gold man. And it was just terrific, man. And before we go, I'd like to give a shout out to our family members that's chiming in the chat, that's listening to the show. Big ups to the family. A Revolt Control, I see you, fam. Kevin, Kyle Davis, my dog Kyle, Dominic, good to see you there, Dominic. And Smoke Dog in the building as well. I see you, Smoke. And the rest of the family members. Kevin says, let's see what he says. Let's see. We need to talk about what spots need to upgrade and fill for the Saints and when the personnel should come from. We'll cover that on the Sports Coma, fam. We're about an hour, a few minutes from hitting the Sports Coma, so it'll be a few minutes to kind of move over to that platform as well. So, we about to do that. And I'd like to thank Mozzie 5 and all the family members for joining in for the Tough Tiger Talk show today, man. And remember, Tough Tiger Talk, at least once a week we come at you. The players have been declared. We'll come back here with news and notes pertaining to who the coordinators will be, who the passing game coordinator will be, and the improvements or changes to the staff, new players, transfers. Of course, LSU had a fire recruiting class this past year that will be coming with the class that we had with Michael Stingley. So LSU is going to keep this thing going. They have some new hires in the SEC because LSU stepped its game up. Everybody else won't step their game up. You have Mike Leach that caught on to Mississippi State. You got Lane Kiffin's garbage ass. He back in the SEC with Ole Miss. So you have a lot of teams with turnovers in the SEC that's shooting for LSU. Alabama, it's going to be really excellent year coming down. So 5, man. I mean, I can't wait for next year, even though we just won it and claim it. Dude, I can't wait for 2021 to fire off, dude. I can't wait.
Yeah,
man. We
live and breathe. We live and breathe it, bro. We live and breathe it. So I mean, it's only right that we get it going and get it cracking. And I think that next year will be a repeat, if I do say so myself.
Well, bro, I agree with you, man. We got to get it, man. No doubt about it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it good. We're gonna squash it. We're gonna lay it down, and we're gonna move it forward. That's the bottom line. So I like to thank all the beautiful people for joining us here on Tough Tiger Talk today. Thank you guys for joining us. Remember, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Please feel free to share the show as well as we keep moving ahead. And I thank all y'all guys for being here today on the show.
Faction guaranteed. Welcome to the One Shop Gourmet.
I got some problems here. But I thank everybody for joining us, man. Thank y'all. And if everybody listening, man, tune in to the Sports Coma. It'll be starting in a few minutes. So y'all just be watching out for that. We're gonna keep it broadcasted, man. Tough Tiger Talk in the morning, Sports Coma in the afternoon, then later on at night, the Pelican Post Game Report, man. That's how we do it, man. Full day of broadcasting on the PRO Network. Thank you for 5 for joining us, family. I'll see you later on the Tough Tiger Talk. Big ups to all our family members, man. We out this piece. Go Tigers, baby. National champion Tigers in the building, baby.
HomeBistro.com. Freshly prepared, home-delivered, restaurant-quality gourmet meals delivered straight to your home. Choose from over 50-plus gourmet meal options cooked by world-class chefs and delivered frozen, ready to eat within minutes and no commit. Welcome to the One Shop Gourmet Food Delivery, specializing affordable options to eat right and feel great. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Every ingredient is handpicked to the highest standard. And why you should buy from HomeBistro.com? Restaurant quality, made with natural ingredients, delivered right to your door. Overnight shopping is available. Diabetic, paleo, heart health, and vegetarian options to eat. Doing business since 1999. Courteous, knowledgeable, and professional support. Complete PCI compliant SSL security ordering, and great meals. Choose from some of my favorite dishes: the Mediterranean chicken with orange honey sauce, the charbroiled chicken romesco, or the grilled chicken breast with sweet and spicy vegetables. No matter what you choose, you can't lose with HomeBistro.com. Eat great, feel good, and save some money with HomeBistro.com. Hit the link in the description section below for more information.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. Embrace Pet Insurance is more than just pet insurance. Embrace Pet Insurance promises to provide genuine support and certainty when your pet needs it the most. With personalized accident and illness policies, compassionate customer care, 24/7 access to veterinary professionals, flexible wellness plans, timely claims processing, and online customer portals, their values is what makes them Embrace. So, when selecting a pet insurance company as a partner in your pet's care, you deserve a company that has your pet's best interests at heart. Get top-rated and review coverage for your pet today. Up to 90% back on bills at any vet, total protection pet pet insurance and wellness, and dependable claims payments. Get the top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Go to EmbracePetInsurance.com. That's EmbracePetInsurance.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
You're listening to